Well, hello again. I guess it's time for another video or whatever. If it will focus. It's so cold outside, it's not focusing. Is that what's happening? Let me stop real quick. I'm just getting foggy. No, it's not focusing. That's weird. Let me stop. Oh, there we go. I was about to stop the video, but hey. Maybe it's gonna focus and then not focus and then focus and everything else. Okay. Today I kind of want to, I don't have anything to talk about, but I don't want to drag this whole homeless thing, and make it like a personality trait, because it ain't. It really is not. It is cold as heck out here, but I felt the urge to take a walk to the library, and it's not as windy, so yeah. And get out of the shelter for a little while. But I want to talk briefly and try to make this video 10 minutes or less, but who knows how it's gonna go. I want to talk briefly about relationships and kind of forming them and expectations and just my observations as a very introverted person who's dealt with some trauma and everything else. Unfortunately, that's a lot of people's story. Dealt with some trauma. I do not know why this thing is not focusing. It looks so blurry. There we go. Okay, so I had it on the wrong setting. Looking crazy. But here we go. Let me stop shaking. Let me put on this glove. But baby, it is I just want to talk about it kind of honestly, my observations about making friendships and relationships, and also I'm going to add the shelter into it, but just because it's a part of my experience, I'm going to try to talk louder, because I know the cars and the noise that they're making is it's a lot. But I've always been a type of person that is hard to have relationships with people, get into relationships with people. Not just talking about romantic stuff. I'm talking about just friendship type of things too. Been kind of difficult for me, which is understandable because my background hasn't been the best, didn't have the best childhood and everything else, and being an introverted person doesn't really not help, because there are introverted people who have an easier time and forming relationships, but as a very introverted person and a sensitive person, which doesn't mean that I can't be insensitive. Sometimes I found a lot of people talking about I'm an empath, I'm this and I'm that, and perhaps so. I'm not saying that you don't feel things deeply, but some of us, I ain't saying I'm an empath, but some of us people who are sensitive, we can be insensitive as heck to everybody else's feelings and their emotions. You being sensitive doesn't give you a license to treat people any kind of way. But at any rate, one thing that I noticed in my life's journey and everything about relationships and stuff like that. I think it's just like it's important to have the same expectations. And for me, that's been the hard part, because I value connections deeply, and when I find a rapport with somebody, like I'm going to kind of explore it and go deeper. But I find that like other people usually want to, and I'm talking mostly about like friendship, other people mostly kind of want to just like fall back, you know what I'm saying, and everything. And which makes it kind of like, okay, I understand that. Like, I ain't trying to be all up in your face 24/7 or anything else like that. But, I just feel like if we hang out like once or twice, but then there's no effort to like ever hang out again, not all the time, of course. I just have to make that clear, not all the time, but just hang out again. Well, I guess that's your answer then, right? Sometimes you're more interested in people than they're interested in you, or more interested in cultivating a connection than they're interested in cultivating a connection with you. And also, I just kind of feel like when you're a more introverted person and you don't actively try to build connections with people and everything, and it kind of is like, well, of course you're going to kind of focus on those connections that don't go anywhere, because you're not building any connections elsewhere. Like, it's like having, I dated 3 men and they were complete and utter trash and stuff like that. So, perhaps that's just men. I guess you can come to that conclusion, but it's also like, cast a bigger net and then you'll find more. But it's also kind of like hard, because if you grew up in a situation where, like the deepest, the closest and deepest connections that you've had have been with people who have mistreated you and done you wrong, it's like once bitten, twice shy type of thing. So it makes it hard to like want to reach out and have connections with people. And it also like makes it so that when you do have it, like you're happy about it, you're ecstatic about it, but like maybe you're a little bit too gung-ho because you're not like used to it or whatever. And some people don't have these problems. Some people are just like, are blessed to just like have a lot of connections, or form connections easily, or just like know. And this is a social skill. Know, what people it's, you're meant to have like a deeper connection with, and what people you don't. This whole spiel is about like, basically about this young lady that I met in a shelter, a couple years younger than me. We had a conversation. We were at the old shelter together, and I convinced her to come to the new shelter. The Lord put it on my heart that she should come to the new shelter when I was coming. Not because I was going to be lonely coming by myself, because honestly, I just like keep to myself, and that's for a reason. Like, I'm not trying to build connections because it's a lot of mess and a lot of drama and a lot of foolishness at this particular shelter, and I don't want to be a part of it at all. But what had happened? So I tried to convince her to come, like at the beginning, like when God gave me the word to, for me to leave and come to this new shelter, and for me to tell her to do it too. She didn't want to come because she was scared there wasn't going to be a place for her, and she just didn't want to come. And so it's okay. We kept in contact via phone and everything else. And one day she had this big blow up of one of the staff there, and she was like, I'm leaving, I'm going, and everything else. And I was like, okay, girl, do you? Like, I wasn't sure if she was going to come or not, but, she ended up coming, and there was a place for her. And so we were cool for like a week or two. And then I got sick. And my expectation is this: I'm a grown woman. I'm in my 30s. I can take care of myself when I'm sick. You know what I'm saying? And if I need somebody to take care of me at this point in time, if it's not family or friends that I've known for a while, then it's going to be the people at the hospital. So it's like I don't need anybody to take care of me. This is not what this was. But I got sick, and she basically like had no compassion for me, you know? Like I'm laid out in the bed, just like not feeling well. And it's just like, when I told her, hey girl, you know, like I'm not feeling well and everything else, it was like, ugh, I hope you feel better, that type of thing. But like not checking up on me and everything else like that. And that's where it comes to, you know, expectations. Like we were like praying for each other, and we were talking about the Lord, and we were talking about relationships, and we divulged some like personal, intimate information to each other. But that didn't make us, you know, friends. And that didn't mean, because we only known each other for like 2 or 3 weeks, and that didn't make us friends. And that didn't mean that we were going to continue to be, you know, like cultivating, you know, like a relationship or anything else like that. Sometimes you like people, you know, like people say, it sounds cliche, but like, you know, folks come into your life for a reason, a season, and sometimes a lifetime. And that's what it is. You know, I think that after that, I think that we were in each other's life briefly for a reason, and then because it wasn't a season, and then it you know, it was the end of that. And it could have been, our relationship could have went back to the way that it was if I hadn't been in that position before, where there's kind of like, I don't know how to say it, but sometimes there's like a compassion gap between you and another person, and you know what you would have done. I know for sure what I would have done in that situation if she had told me she was sick. Would I be taking care of her? Not necessarily, not like that. I'm not a caretaker, I'm not a doctor, I don't know what she needs. But we had 12 minutes, child. So much for 10 minutes or under. But like, what I would have done is, oh girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't allow water bottles in the sleeping area, but people sneak them in anyway. You know, like, where your water bottle at? Let me get you some like cold water. You know, you got a headache, you got a fever, let me get you some Tylenol from this front desk. I would have like texted her, because I ain't trying to get sick either, so that's not my problem. Like, stay away, but you know what I'm saying, like, check up on somebody, see how somebody's doing and stuff like that. I know I would have done that for her, you know, but it's like, it's not the same. And if there is like that type of gap and that type of like difference in the terms of the way that we show compassion, I'm just like at the point in my life, I'm officially in my like late 30s, that I don't have time for that. You know, I've dealt with that before, the compassion gap between like people, you know, like where you care more than the other person, or you show your caring in a different way than the other person, or maybe it's compassion gap or compassion difference. And so for me, I'm just like, okay, I know from experience I can't bridge this gap. I cannot make somebody change who they are. I can't make somebody show more compassion than they are able to show. And plus, like, I mean, come on, isn't it like 101 in terms of like relationship, friendships? If you're sick, if you're not feeling well, then like, you know what I'm saying, I'm not going to try to be all up on you because you're sick, but I'm also not going to try to like, but I'm also going to see how you are. I'm going to check up on you, right? And make sure that you're okay. Maybe like get you some Tylenol from the front desk. Maybe get you some water because you're not feeling well. Because honestly, I was like, it was really bad. I was like bedbound. it was like a really, really bad for several days. And the fact that you didn't check up on me, you didn't try to see if I was okay and everything else. And that was it. That was the end of the relationship. And like, I was expecting at one point in time, I know this is idolatry and stuff like that, I was expecting her to like be more compassionate to me, and that compassionate, and it sounds crazy in the moment that the thought came to me, that I just like accepted it as it was. I expected her compassion to me more than compassion like of God, the compassion of Jesus and everything else like that for me being sick. And I'm like, but she showed nothing. She didn't care. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was also like a point, like, you're not going to put somebody in my place or think that somebody is going to be better than me, so like snatch that relationship away, if that makes sense. And with that processing in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm okay with this relationship being dead. Now, does this, you know, like, do I still care for her and everything else? I do. You know what I'm saying? I really want the best for her and everything. But it just got me to thinking, like, about just like how you have to just like, you know, let it flow with relationships and not just like hold on too tight. Even if you've been the type of person who's not had a lot of romantic or even like friendship type relationships, because not everybody got 1,500 friends. It's okay if you do. I'm a little concerned if you like, I got 10 best friends. I'm like, girl, you got time for all of them? But it's like, you know, I get it. People have different sort of like energy level for friendships and relationships, period. I think that I don't know. I think maybe some of this, like, the mystery and stuff like that of relationships to me can be resolved like therapy and everything, and just like more exposure to more social situations, because I tend to want to also like keep myself safe, and there's no 100% safety with relationships. Now, mind you, I'm not saying like, oh she lying to you, oh he's like being flaky, you know what I'm saying, like, oh there's no 100%, you know, like, let it be what it is. That's not what I'm saying, y'all, like, at all. But it's like, you can always get hurt. Even people who start out super reliable, super caring and loving and everything else can, you know, turn, twist, contort, and be something that they didn't used to be. I mean, the one reliable relationship I feel like you'll always have is like the relationship with Jesus. Like, that's the only reliable one that, you know, doesn't change. And honestly, like, you know, we had bumps and though in that relationship too, usually because of our lack of understanding, because, you know, human frailty and hurt and everything. But it's also like, you know, a relationship where you can like go to him and like say your feelings and stuff like that, and it won't be ignored. Like, how many times have we gone to like other human beings and been like, you know, I feel this way, you did this and it makes me feel this way. Well, I'm sorry, I ain't in charge of your feelings, you need to feel something different. Like, you know, I don't think Jesus is doing like that. It's more so like if there's a gap in understanding, because, you know, his thoughts are higher than ours, then it's just going to be like, there's going to be care based upon that, and just like, you know, reassurance based upon that and everything else, you know. So, I mean, that's all I want to say. Nothing like too deep or anything, but just like relationships can be complicated. It's also like, you know, like I was talking about therapy, but also like, you know, just like pray about it. Pray that the Lord, you know, sends the right relationships my way, whether romantic or platonic. Pray for understanding of different, you know, like dynamics. I was talking about in the video the other day that I was talking about in a video the other day that oh, this person is not slowing down. That, you know, like being in an abusive household told me to be like sensitive to facial expressions and sensitive to, you know, people's emotions and stuff like that. But like emotions change, you know, the initial emotion somebody has could change, flip and contort and become something else in the next second. You know what I'm saying? Take it for what it is, you know, put it up in your like your think tank or whatever. And if it becomes like a common thing, if the, you know, like if along with that it becomes evidence of something else, then, you know, like then you have to do what you have to do. I mean, although sometimes like people's reaction, depending on the situation and depending on the topic at hand, could be a very clear clue that they're not for you and you need to like move accordingly. So that's all I wanted to say. I hope y'all are blessed. Pray to God about those relationships. Pray to God for clarity. Pray to God that you see exactly what you're doing wrong in relationships. And pray to God that you don't enter into relationships just because you want to, like, sometimes we tend to overcorrect. So pray to God that you can like see, you know what I'm saying, see your faults and see what you need to work on. But also understand clearly that some people are just trifling and not for you. Or just not for you, period. But, you know, some of them are really trifling. And you don't need to put that on your back either. Don't overcorrect. But don't undercorrect either. It's a, you know, balancing act. So that's all I want to say. Just, like, pray about it. And, yeah. It'll get better in time. Relationships, child. So just all I wanted to say. 22 minutes. Well, double what I was going for, but here we go. Goodbye.